We're back with the second quarter of Shots from the Bench. And, partner, let's talk a little bit about the AFC. We didn't get into the AFC at length in the first quarter. So what are your thoughts on the AFC?
Well, we briefly said something about the Patriots.
Absolutely.
Beating the Giants because that was a crossover game, interconference game there. So they're 9-0, of course. The next game I want to talk about is the Denver game with Kansas City.
Oh, boy.
I'm sorry. Denver played. Who did Denver play?
Denver played Kansas City this past night.
That's right. They lost to Kansas City.
They got
coming off that win over Green Bay. That's what I was thinking. They're coming off that win over Green Bay last week, and then they come in and they're playing Kansas City. You would think that it's a pretty.
They'd be on a roll. You think they'd get a little momentum now? Yeah.
But then you had Peyton Manning, his performance yesterday, the worst performance of his career, 5 out of 20. 4 interceptions, and he found time to become the leading passer in pro football history over Brett Favre.
That's a shame. He pulled that off.
What a game to do that in,
to
become the leading passer.
Can you believe that?
Of all time of yards in the NFL. That's not the best game. You want to remember that. It's kind of bittersweet, I guess. But now they're saying he has a torn plantar fascia right foot.
So it's a foot, foot.
So,
hey, you got a plant.
And the coach is saying I should never have played him, and he has other issues. Well, maybe so. But why wouldn't you have taken him out after 2 interceptions or 3 interceptions?
Why would you in a game like that? Why would you even risk hurting him? If he's hurt, there's something funny about that. But by the same token, if he's hurt, then that's a really stupid decision by the.
Now Denver's defense is great. They gave up 29 points, but when you give up 4 interceptions, 4 turnovers like that, you make that offense on the other team
you
way better.
Shorten their field, shorten the field big time.
Absolutely, and so you got the Patriots at 9-0. The Bengals were off; they're 8-0. Now Denver 7-2 after 2 straight losses. But interesting, the Steelers are creeping up at 6-4. They brought Big Ben in off the bench. How's that? He wasn't supposed to play. I
don't think they were praying. Landry Jones got really just sprained his foot, and so Ben had to come in. And,
so he comes in and throws 379 yards and 3 touchdowns, and 2 of his receivers go off for over 100 yards. Antonio Brown had 139 yards and 10 catches, and
Martavius Bryant had 106. They're gonna have to throw the ball because they have 0 running game. D'Angelo Williams is fine, but they better just come out and fill the ball with
but
fill the air with footballs.
They're actually in that game when they beat the Browns 30-9. Johnny Manziel had a pretty good game.
Johnny Football threw for 350 yards, but that I didn't see the game. I think that's impressive, but I think it's probably less impressive that he got 9 points. Now basically 10 points. They missed an extra point.
There was a play in there where he got. They grabbed him by the face mask and whipped him around like a rag doll.
Well, I hope they got flagged. Did they get flagged? I hope they did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's good.
But that was an amazing play.
So Johnny Football, we'll see if Johnny Football is back next week or if they go back to McCown. But
so,
that's,
Of course, Thursday night, we had the Buffalo Bills going into the Jets to play the New York Jets. And Rex Ryan's return. And turned out good for him, 22-17. But they really wanted that game, that's for sure.
I'll tell you what, that was especially difficult. Mm-hmm. And so you got to, I tip my head off to Rex Ryan. I don't like his persona per se, but obviously he prepared the hell out of that team because they played a good football game in a hostile environment. And
so Buffalo looks like they're on the rise. I mean, some of these teams, they go up one week, down the other. It's hard to get a gauge on them,
Well, you were talking about that NFC conference where they're all 5-5. I'm looking at the AFC, that same conference where you got the Buffalo, the Jets, and Miami. They're going to be beating each other's brains in.
The Colts, Raiders, and Chiefs are all 4-5 as well.
Yeah. Well, like I said, looks like if you're 9-7, you have a good chance of making the playoffs. Yeah. You do. I mean, really.
Well, you got your top tier playoff teams, and these final spots are up for grabs.
Yeah,
and that's
the final wild card spots, but they are up for grabs, and it's kind of neat because a team even like Jacksonville, now that they won that game, Jacksonville's 1 game behind the Colts, 1 game out of first place. They're 3-6, and they're 1 game out of first place.
Yeah.
So go figure, But one of the things I wanted to talk about just really bothered me in watching some of the games this past week. And I don't know what you think about this, Bob, but the first thing, I think you had mentioned it before, I cannot get over the lack of clock management that some of these teams possess. You've got to be able to, when you've got the ball, you've got to be able to work the clock better than a lot. The Giants, they should be strangled. They should be strangled.
Yeah, the Giants is a different story. Well, not a different story, but that's a story where the quarterback should know. He's a veteran.
Yeah, well, it's a veteran.
When you have a young quarterback, it's on the coach. But when you have a quarterback that's been in the league for as long as Eli Manning has been in, and now this is like the fourth time it's happened.
I can't figure it out.
Year.
I can't figure it out.
And it just keeps happening. I think someone would say, hey, when you're trying to hang on to a lead, or you want to be running the ball and keeping that clock running. You don't want to make completion after completion, move the ball down the field, and leave more time for like a Tom Brady to move it down the field. That's just insanity.
Yeah, well, it is insanity. And something else that's just as insane, and I think I was telling you about this off camera, but to me, the dumbest play I've seen in football in 10 years happened yesterday, and that was Elvis Dumerville. The clock was going to run out. There was 5 seconds left, and Blake Bortles went back and tripped over his own feet and fell down, got up, and Elvis Dumerville, instead of pushing him down, took him by the face mask and threw him down. So now he stops the clock, gives the other team 15 yards. Here comes the kicker. He kicks a 55-yard field goal. All he had to do was just touch Bortles, and the game was over. And that's why Baltimore's 2-7 this year. That just absolutely blew my mind.
So there's a lot of dumb plays going on.
I guess that's what I'm saying. Another one, I was telling you about Tampa Bay and the Cowboys. Tampa Bay, Winston, their quarterback, tries to keep it and roll and go in. And he jumps into the pile, loses the ball, and with 15 seconds left. Oh, Dallas falls on it. You think the game's over, and Dallas, one of their defensive backs grabbed one of the receivers for Tampa Bay, so they don't even get the ball back. I just think amazing to me on the last. What do you think that the officials aren't going to see that? But that just absolutely amazes me. And can I throw one more thing at you?
Sure, absolutely.
This is what really bothers me, and I didn't get to tell you about this.
This one's number one.
Well, this is number one for me, and it's the ridiculous habit that pro quarterbacks have of burning timeouts. Why in the world, if it's 2nd and 7 in the third quarter and the clock is winding down, take a 5-yard penalty, but don't burn one of your timeouts that you're going to need. Do you know how important those timeouts are at the end of the game? Yeah. And you stand there and waste it because you can't get the right people on the field in the third quarter with 12 minutes to go. I just don't understand. Take a 5-yard penalty, okay, but don't kill one of your timeouts that you're going to need with the game on the line. That just drives me crazy.
I think a lot of times they get into situations where they kind of panic a little bit, and they lose their poise. It's just the situation they're in. And
the coaches got to keep that under
rather
control.
Than make a mistake, they call the timeout.
And the coach, and you say, coach is always steamed, right? The coach is like,
oh yeah. What are you doing? Why are you doing?
But I think if you just say to him, hey, I understand if there's 2 minutes to go on, and okay, maybe, but if there's 12 minutes to go in the third quarter, don't be blowing one of your timeouts because Jerry didn't get on the field in time. I mean, so what? It's a 5-yard penalty. Who knows? It's no different than guys jumping off sides or
well, it depends. Sometimes, I mean, you can see it sometimes, depending on the situation. You might be moving the ball, have a good drive going, you feel like you're going to score, so and you really need that, that clinching touchdown or whatever.
Well, I'm just curious how you feel about to me the time. These games,
sure.
the way the game is officiated and played now, the timeouts are so important to have at the end of the quarter. I mean, end of the half or the end of the game.
Definitely could use them.
You can use them. You really need them. And so many times the team gets the ball back, and now they have to go 60 yards with no timeouts. Yeah. And I think, what did they do? Now, if they had to kill the clock while the other team had the ball, I get it. But a lot of times they burn their timeouts because they don't want to take a 5-yard penalty for delay a game. Big deal. Yeah. It's a 5-yard penalty for delay a game. That's how I look at it. That just drives me crazy. Sure. And I think I told you about Calvin Johnson. They put the onside kick and Detroit puts all their top receivers up on the line.
Right.
That's a little different than being a great wide receiver when a guy kicks a ground ball to you with 40 guys charging after you. I think that, I'm not sure. If I would, I'd get some big bodies in there that can keep people away.
Anything can happen in this situation.
Anything can.
Like that.
Well, you're right about
the ball's moving in a different way that you normally see it come at you.
But if he's never
hitting the ground and coming at you,
if he's not used to that,
right?
And I don't think, like I said, I think watching Johnson, who I think is a phenomenal receiver, but all of a sudden, here comes this ball bouncing off the ground towards him, and all these guys are charging at him. He did take his eye off the ball. There's no question about it. But that's just one of the things that also bothered me. And finally, while I'm on a rant, how about the guy, the punt returner for New England, breaks about 15 tackles, goes down. He's ready to walk in for a touchdown. He's with two other guys on his team. There's no another person in sight. And they run into each other and trip him. And they almost didn't score a touchdown. They finally got it in on third down from the 7-yard line, but that could have cost them the game. So,
like we were talking also, how many times do you see a defensive player running right alongside the offensive player? And he could just stop them.
Just stop them. And
they're waiting for the best time to get him as 20 yards go by.
Yeah, 20 yards
and
go by.
Before you know it, they're in the end zone. He's standing right next to him.
Dive on him. He's got the ball, but they
get him. If you're a fan of the team, you're going, get him, get him,
You're not going to catch up to him. If the guy's faster and you're 5 yards behind him, you better dive for his legs now. Because
you're waiting for a better time.
He's just going to run away. That's all he's going to do. But that was my rant on the goofy plays this week, and God knows there were enough of them. I'll tell you what, I just amazed at the clock management and the burning the timeouts, and like I said, I guess it's beating a dead horse. Right. But that's how I'll wrap that up. I'll tell you what, I've spoken long enough about that, and we are ready to go into halftime, where I'm sure Coach Murphy's going to question my clock management. So I guess I'll have to wait at halftime and see what he has to say about my clock management. We'll be right back with the third quarter right after this.